Welcome to the end of year 2023 wrap-up of the Muck Podcast. Listen in as we discuss the dark and sometimes weird true stories in American politics. I'm Tina Jaramillo.
And I'm Hillary Doherty.
And...
I'm Alfredo Olvera, producer.
Wow, that was as effective as I thought it would be.
The best, I think, intro that we've ever had.
You get all my three personalities today.
Well, we are lucky.
Some of them were too tired to come.
Oh my gosh. Now, you know, this is the man who carries around giant bobblehead posters of himself.
By the way, I did not pay for this. This was put out for me. I'm not that narcissistic.
That's true. Yeah. Well, you're one of these guys was on the podcast a couple weeks ago. He was very popular. Everybody was happy.
Oh, my fourth personality.
Yeah, the fourth one.
the quiet one.
My kids came home that Sunday, and my son was like, "Why is there a picture of Alfredo by the record player?" I'm like, "Yeah, that's a long story."
Anyway, let's say goodbye to the
Goodbye,
other two
personalities. Thank you for visiting us at the Muck Podcast today. Well, end of year, season 4, complete and finished, and we're gonna just highlight some of our favorite episodes this year, and also the best and worst. In our opinion, in politics. It's not going to be a long list, just a couple of things that are memorable.
Yes.
And then
that's it.
Maybe a off the cuff improv question of are you hopeful for 24? Think about that as we're all sitting here.
I have quite a few questions.
Okay, and I also want to know if you're hopeful.
I'm going to say right now, I'm probably not ready for any of these questions.
All right. Well, let's see. Let's hear. What do we have, Mr. Executive Producer?
Alrighty, okay, so let's start light. How's everybody doing? How are you doing?
So good.
What did you do last night?
We went to karaoke last night. We discussed this on a regular episode.
Well, I wasn't here for that.
Yes, you were there, but you don't ever do karaoke.
I don't sing.
Oh well,
I don't either, but you saw me up there.
Oh, and you're quite a dancer. You're quite a dancer.
Now I have a second person saying
you
to
are
the
quite.
public.
She got the moves.
She's telling everybody that she doesn't
not
like.
true.
Yes, it is.
Look at her.
Oh, look at her. She's so coy now.
Yeah. Meanwhile, you're get up there and it's like a whole different person comes out.
It is a show.
It's a show.
Maybe we should record it next time. How about that?
I might have video.
Like just I'm sure there are.
I might.
As an intro.
Yeah.
For the podcast.
That's what we should do.
So okay, so let's start on the personal note. Let's go backwards because I know this conversation is gonna get heated by the end of it.
Probably.
So let's start with Tina, the shy one. Tina, what were your personal bests in 2023?
Like my personal?
Yes, your personal. Like what do you accomplish?
What did I accomplish in 2023? I don't know. I don't think I accomplished anything, Alfredo.
Oh my God! You just about to wrap up season 4 of this podcast.
I know. Well, okay. So we did the podcast. Personal best.
What do you think on that, Hillary?
Yes.
Well, I was thinking about my roof, how to get through that situation.
Oh wow! I remember that. That was quite an ordeal, huh?
So I was able to make my house more affordable to live in, which is amazing. A little less stress going into 2024.
I think it's raining here.
It's
and
raining
heavy
and
winds for the last 3 days.
Yeah. So that was a big thing for me to do by myself on my own. It was huge. Like a lot of money was spent to try to get everything in order.
Let's be clear, you didn't put the roof yourself, right?
No, I was up there, okay? I was nailing, I was putting tar down, I was supervising.
Here you go.
My children.
The woman can do it all.
Child labor is now okay in Florida.
Oh, that is true.
So,
okay.
Can we get back to you?
All right, this is a stupid thing.
There's nothing stupid here.
But this year I said I want to try to read.
Oh yes, yes.
At least 10, 15. I think I'm at 20 something books.
That's incredible.
That I read this year.
Incredible.
Yeah.
Wow, 20
But
books.
I wanted it to. I mean, I would like it to be 50. But
so how many of those books had pictures though?
None.
Oh.
Oh my god.
What a
So
bragger.
just to be fair, she didn't read magazines and count them as books.
Damn
She
it.
actually read real books.
I did.
Real books.
I started off in a very dystopian, all of the first books for the first few months of the year were very dystopian, very upsetting, and I was like, I gotta change it up.
That is so you though.
Yeah,
is
no, they were
dark.
like, so good, so good. But yeah, so that was a little personal thing that I wanted to accomplish, and I feel like I did.
Very good.
And I could do that. Right now I'm reading Michael Imperioli's book.
Oh, she finally was able to open it.
Well, no.
The paperback.
I had to get a paperback because I cannot ruin the words that Michael Imperioli personally wrote to me. Dear Tina, I love you. I mean, I didn't say I love you. Love.
All right, let's go. I can't go through this part again. About how she can't open a book. She don't want to open the writing.
Okay. Alrighty, Hillary.
Psychotic.
Let's talk about the podcast for a second while Tina is salivating about Michael Imperioli.
Get yourself together.
Get yourself together for a little bit. What were your favorite episodes of the year?
Okay, I had a bunch. A lot of them, of course, were my stories, but what are you going to do? Mutiny in Space.
Oh,
episode 159, the astronauts that went on strike in space. Come on.
Yes, that was a good episode.
Jerry Springer, episode 173.
Springer episode.
And it was called Jerry. Susanna Salter, which Tina did in episode 170, was the first woman mayor in the United States, but the way she got elected was a goof. Because she was involved in politics, and the men were like, you know, it would be really funny if we all played a trick on her and all voted for, let's nominate her and elect her. And they did. And she knew it was a goof, but that did not stop her from taking that job seriously, and she did her fucking job. Amazing. I love that.
That is so American politics.
It is. Yes. That's why I said they're trolling her in like the early.
It's like, and here you go, like years later, Donald Trump.
Yeah, well. He really pulled a gag on us getting elected. Steve Lough was episode 162. He was the clown that ran for Congress. He was like a sweet man. Too. Yeah. Of course, episode 195, Vicky Kittles.
Oh, that was on my list too.
And episode 196, Tina covered James Honest Dick Tate, who stole all that money from Kentucky and disappeared.
And no one ever found him again.
Someone saw him in Asia. They think it was him, and they never saw him again.
Yeah. And it was like, in today's money, like millions and millions of dollars.
Yeah. Like, those were my favorites so far, or this year.
Tina?
All right, so my list isn't long, okay? I just did a 1 and a 1. Forgive me. So, for the Hillary story that I loved this year was the one about Russell Williams, who was
the Canadian.
The Canadian. He was a former colonel, and they end up finding out that he is a murderer committing sexual assault and forcible confinement of women. And like they had no idea he was like this, like, you know, well-regarded, respected colonel, and then like they realized, oh my God, he's this other thing. And that story was really cool. I mean, awful, but good. And then the one that I liked was that I did the Michael Galdieri, who was murdered by his best friend. And they were in politics together, and this guy gets killed, and they realize that it was like this other politico who killed him.
Wow. And it was tied to the same person as the story that I did like months earlier. Oh my gosh, it's so good.
And he didn't personally do it, but he paid to people to take this guy out, and like, they were friends.
That is so muck.
Very mucky.
Very mucky. Let's jump into the political, stories.
Okay.
Let's talk about the best and the worst. Tina, you want to start?
Okay, so
let's start with the best. Let's start.
Okay.
No, wait. Let's start with the worst. Let's start with the worst. I don't know in the political world what is best and what is worst.
I know. This was so hard because there's so many horrible things. But to me, it was the continued erosion of reproductive rights. Idaho becoming the first state to restrict interstate travel for abortion explicitly, limiting access to minors who may have been sexually assaulted. The thing. And then ever since Roe was turned in 2022, we saw in 2023 like 14 states having a near full abortion ban. We know that Florida's on the way. So that to me was like the worst for politics.
So my worst is the corruption that has been publicly uncovered on the Supreme Court.
Oh God.
Because that is our last stop for so many laws in this country, and how it's going to, and it's already suspect because of how many Trump appointees are there. But then when you start to see that they are taking gifts, vacations, home repairs, house purchases are all happening with people who have cases in front of the court or about to have cases in front of the court. And then they're not like Clarence Thomas is not reporting the gifts,
stuff alone,
like hundreds of thousands, millions of dollars in gifts, and he's not reporting them. And
then he makes decisions for those same people.
Yeah, but then also to know that Trump being held accountable for his actions on January 6th is now going in front of the Supreme Court, where he's appointed, 4 of those judges, and that Clarence Thomas and his wife are involved with January 6th. So a lot of what happens in this country is because of the Supreme Court, and they are corrupt, and Congress is not doing what they're supposed to do to investigate it and make sure they're held accountable. Now they have a new rule, but it's basically self-governing, that they have to look out for each other or whatever. They get to even deem what if it was something that they did wrong amongst themselves. That's not holding each other. It's not being accountable for what you're doing. So I think that these should not be lifetime positions at all.
No, I agree.
Because they affect their decisions affect generations of people.
Term limits, and they should have some kind of system to get someone like Clarence Thomas out.
Yeah.
Easily.
Yeah.
All right.
And your best?
My best is watching Ron DeSantis fail running for president.
Oh.
I know it's a failure, but it's also the best thing I've seen all year. The greatest. Because here, I've talked about on the podcast, he's this looming figure. He's somebody who is kind of scary because you don't know what's going to happen. You don't know what he's going to ask for. You don't know what he's going to do. And he's got an entire majority in the legislature that will do whatever he wants, so you never know. But to see him on the national stage to be rejected tremendously is so insane to watch, and it is a gift, and I thank you. The people of Florida thank you for not buying into this bullshit. So it warms my heart. It brings me joy to watch him fail.
Okay, I like that.
Tina.
Mine is a little hopeful.
Oh.
It's Gen Z's rising political
yes.
power. Because these are kids who are, their issues are gun violence, their issues are climate change, their issues are mental health, student debt, healthcare, housing, and in 2024, a lot of them are eligible to vote. And so I'm hoping, beyond hope, that we can rally these young people and really get them to understand how important it is to have Biden. Yes, he's old, okay, Grandpa Joe, but Grandpa Joe or not, he's done a lot. I think Biden has done a lot in his time as president. I wish that he was a first-term president and would have taken time to say, let's, in these 4 years, think about who could be a good successor to me. Mm-hmm. Like a Whitmer, or what's his face Newsom. In California, Gavin Newsom. You know what I mean? That to me would make me happier because I think that would excite the youth a little bit more. Yeah. But it is what it is. But I think that voting block to me was
we've seen it positive. from the 2 years ago to even this last midterm. Yeah, they were a huge impact on issues and on candidates. Those college campuses.
Yeah. I'm a little scared of Gen Zers, though.
You are?
Yeah, I really hope they go out to vote.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Because here's the problem, it's a lot of them are extremely smart.
Yeah.
But some of them are getting their news from TikTok.
Right.
And I think that some of them don't understand how the political process works. And hence, they're calling, Joe Biden old because they're not analyzing everything that he has done for the country. Can I give you my best one?
Yes.
The Zieglers.
Oh, I thought about putting them on my list.
The Zieglers he is the chair of the Republican Party in Florida, and she is one of the founders of that awful movement, Moms for Liberty, that attacked the LGBTQ community. Mm-hmm. And it is such a sweet story to me because it's always the loudest.
And she's a sitting school board member.
She's a sitting school board member. always the loudest one against the LGBTQ community or women's rights are usually hiding something. And these two are just the worst of the worst in politics, but it is so sweet to see them fail.
Well, even this week, we didn't even talk about this on the regular episode, but this week, he's like, yeah, I'll leave the party, but I want some money. He wants
Can you imagine
millions of dollars in a buyout.
And he allegedly assaulted someone.
Oh, I don't know, but today Marco Rubio tweeted, or it might have been yesterday, that he should step down. So like every single statewide elected Republican has asked him to resign. And then Marco said if he won't step down, then they should vote him out at their next meeting, which they're going to do, and put somebody else in place. Wow, but you don't pay somebody who's been accused of rape and admitted to having sexual relations with this woman. No.
I can't believe Marco Rubio even, had something to say.
I know. I'm still processing that. Marco Rubio has something to say. I didn't even know that he was still a senator. A working senator.
Who knew?
Collecting that salary, doing absolutely nothing for Florida.
Imagine just getting a paycheck and doing absolutely nothing.
Yeah, well.
Nothing. He doesn't even meet with constituents.
No. Just show up for nothing.
So let's talk about winners and losers. In my eyes, you two are winners.
Yay! You too. You Mr. Men of Style.
It was a good year. I started the year really good at the HRC dinner where you guys were there.
Yeah. Oh, it was so good.
It was so good, huh?
Yeah.
It's been a good year. And that event, the Men of Style, was so much fun.
Amazing.
Somebody asked me.
I have to say that in your role as our state committeeman, you have been doing so much stuff. Like you go everywhere, you meet with everybody, like you see him everywhere, and you talk to all the different groups. You know what I mean? I love seeing it. So it makes me so happy.
It's a volunteer position.
I know.
But
I know.
Here's the thing.
It's a lot of your time.
It is a lot of time, but it's fun because you meet people who have your same interests, and it is to save this country, right? Yeah. To save democracy. But what people want is just visibility. Yeah. That's all. They want to see people, leaders from the party, that they are visible, that they're talking, that they getting reassurance that the party is doing something. And also they want to be, encouraged to get in and do the work. We just attended a meeting by the senior caucus, and everybody was so excited. And Emma Collum today is on the Sun Sentinel, an article about the petitions. We're so close. And I think that's going to be huge. But I have a feeling that you guys are going to talk about these. The winners and losers of 2023. Hillary, who are your winners?
So mine is ridiculous. I'm going to start off with that.
My winners were the states, like Tina mentioned earlier, who have preserved the rights to abortion in the country. And there's states that you don't really expect because they're in the Midwest. But when you put it on the ballot, abortion is nonpartisan. And we know that because you can see it. They did it in Ohio twice. They've done it in Michigan, Minnesota, Kansas. Like, it's an issue that Republicans have been running on for so long, but it's a losing issue. It's no longer an issue that you should be taking up. I would think after last November, when you saw losses across the country and when it's put in the voters' hands, what they actually want is to protect the women's, girls, and anyone with a uterus in their lives. Like, those states to me are places where people would move. I think this would bring people to your state to know that their children would be protected, their wives, their sisters, everyone would be protected. So I'm very proud that when it's put in the voters' hands, this happens. And I hope the Republicans keep running on this issue, because you'll continue to lose if you do. Sorry, I want to mention one last thing. We are still waiting in Florida for the Florida Supreme Court to give us an answer on the 6-week abortion ban, which has been challenged as unconstitutional.
We're waiting week by week on that.
Every week. So the second it goes into, if they say that it's approved and it's not illegal, then it'll go into effect, I think, 30 days later. Yeah. And then women and girls and anyone with a uterus who needs an abortion after 6 weeks, which most women don't know that they're pregnant at 6 weeks. The closest place we can go is North Carolina. So the burden that is being put on women here in Florida is atrocious. And actually, Lauren Book tweeted a story yesterday that the second minor in Florida has been denied abortion and is being forced to carry a baby to term because the judge said she didn't prove that she was mature enough to make that decision on her own without parent approval. So
you know what's wild to me?
But she can carry the baby.
Yeah, she could carry the baby, and at the same time, the state is currently talking about the worker rights of the youth,
right?
And saying that 16 and 17-year-olds can work, all sorts of crazy hours, school nights till who knows when, working in dangerous working conditions, and so somehow they're mature enough to handle all of that, but they don't have the maturity to make these kind of decisions or read a book that they want to read or anything like that. And so it's just outrageous to me. And the reproductive, the petition collecting and doing that work with the collective has been, that to me is like a winner of all the people getting together.
Yes.
To do that, because it's a lot of people all across the state going to all different things to get these petitions. Most of the people that I talked to are open to it. There were still some people when I went a couple weeks ago, some men that are just like, it doesn't affect me. And I'm like, wow, you don't know any women in your life, but okay, you don't say nothing, you just go, okay, thank you, and you move on. And but for the most part, I think most people are open to this. And then Ohio, passing that. And then I had a silly winner.
Okay.
I have George Santos
I love this.
a silly winner here because yes, the guy got expelled from Congress, but the cameo appearances that this man is putting out.
Yeah.
Oh,
I mean, now Santos is a liar, so we can't believe this, but I think he said he makes like $80,000 a day.
Wow.
On these cameo
I mean,
videos.
Jared Moskowitz have purchased a couple of those. Congressman Moskowitz have purchased quite a few of those.
I told Tina I want to have him do the opening of the podcast.
You should.
Right?
How much would it cost?
Sarah said she'd contribute. So we should start a GoFundMe. It's $350.
Okay, count me in.
All right, and just send. All you have to do is send a script. Hey, you're listening to the Muck Podcast. Here's Tina and Hillary. Blah blah blah. I said, who else alive right now is more in line to open this podcast than George Santos?
You know what?
Be the best.
So Rudy Giuliani was just. Told that he had to pay $148 million, and somebody on social media calculated he's gonna have to do 990,000 Vimeo to be able to pay for that because he has no money right now.
No way. I don't even think he can pay those lawyers.
Oh my god!
But you know what? If he suffers financially the rest of his life, it's not long enough.
No.
For what he did to those two women.
They won't because they always find a con. They have money hidden in some other places.
Oh please, they are taken care of.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hillary.
Oh, okay. So my losers are the American people.
Ooh, hi.
Because
hello, American people.
Thank you for listening to our podcast.
You're losers. But here's why.
Be sure to subscribe.
Yeah, but also can you join our Patreon?
Send us some money.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you. We don't vote.
Mm-hmm.
We don't show up.
That's
and
true.
we don't pay attention. We don't pay attention.
Yeah.
And turning a blind eye from what people in power are doing allows them to do whatever they want. They literally have said that on the floor of the Florida House. Why are you doing this? Some awful bill 2 sessions ago. And the guy said, because we can. And that's what happens when they feel like you're not watching. And by the way, that's our job. Our job is to watch, is to pay attention, is to make sure they're not doing the wrong thing. And when you turn a blind eye, you get someone like Mike Johnson, who your U.S. House Republicans thought would be the best person for the job, who believes the Bible should be the rule of the land.
Yeah. We're not a theocracy, in case you've forgotten.
Yeah. He's the weirdest looking man. I don't know why we haven't discussed this yet. He's in his 40s, I believe, and he looks like he's 14. There's something weird there.
Oh.
That's weird. His son checks his porn
I was
to make
about
sure
to say that.
he's not doing porn. He's bragging about how long his wife gets on her knees to pray. Okay? And there's another thing. People are dying in office. I know we couldn't all predict that Dianne Feinstein would live to 203, but that's not okay.
Yeah, what's going on with Mitch McConnell?
We need to push. When people call for people to retire, that's not going to happen. We need to do that. Make it known. Make it known that we don't want this
and
because
put
it's not
term
okay.
limits and put an age cap. You got to have an age cap to go in.
Yeah.
You should have an age cap to get out.
The other thing is this. Here's the thing, is that we're about to have an election in November. So there's good news to this. You don't have to be losers anymore. Come 2024, you can make sure you're registered to vote. Your friends, your family, they're voting for progressive candidates who represent our values and what we stand for. And we can stop fascism from moving into the White House again. Like, we can change it, but you have to participate in it. You don't have to be losers. You just have to pay attention. And I know it's like people, it's angry, screaming from both sides, but like, it does matter. So we can't bury our heads in the sand. Can't do it. We have to save this country from democracy it's crumbling around us,
right.
And they're standing by the fire and they're doing this. They're enjoying it.
It's going to be minority rule.
Don't let it get too far.
It's going to be minority.
We have to protect the most vulnerable amongst us. Transgender folks, transgender children, women, girls whose healthcare decisions are being taken away from them, immigrants, low-income workers, teachers, homeowners, and more importantly, me and Tina. You have to protect us. We want to talk about rainbows and butterflies.
Oh.
We don't want to talk about this bullshit. Help us.
Help us.
Help us. Vote for us. That's it. That's my speech.
Wow, tell us how you feel.
Did you like it?
I mean.
Tell us how you
Thank you.
feel.
Thank you.
Wow. Well, mine is not nearly as passionate.
I love the jingle bells in the background when Tina moves.
So, my loser, it kind of piggybacks off what you did earlier, but my loser was DeSantis, and specifically the boots. Okay? Those boots are made for walking, and I feel like the boots are the epitome of that failing campaign.
Oh, yes.
They symbolize his frail little ego and his desperate attempt to be liked and looked up to.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's so embarrassing. And the fact that he keeps wearing them.
Yeah.
Because it's like, okay, someone noticed it a while ago.
Yes.
That should be your cue to go, shit, I shouldn't wear these shoes no
they're
more.
Getting worse.
But now he keeps wearing them.
Yeah.
And it's,
They completely curl up in the front like
so
this.
nobody's telling him. Nobody.
Yeah, he can read a newspaper.
We were texting about it. We were texting about it, and Tina goes, I cannot believe no one said anything. I said, they don't care about him. They push him on stage to like, just go do this.
When
Like,
you-
they hate him. They
know
hate
his
him.
wife is
When
red.
even your
Of
team,
course, they
when
know.
even your team and your wife hate you so much that they don't tell you that you look like an ass.
Oh my
Yeah.
God.
It is crazy.
He wants to be the president of the United States,
Okay,
and
so-
he's lying about his shoe size.
So pause for 1 second. So here's the thing with Ron DeSantis, and we know how Ron DeSantis is, right? Like he is such a pitiful man.
Well, fragile. He's fragile.
He's very fragile, and if you're listening, Ron, don't break so easy.
Ooh,
So here is what I am afraid of is that by the time his campaign is over, session is not going to be over.
Yep.
And he has the power to call a special session.
Yeah.
And I am just wondering what is brewing in his tiny little brain with his really awkward smiles.
Oh, God.
Just to how he can damage Florida for the remainder of his term.
Yeah.
That is a scary thought.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on
And,
that?
well, I mean, this is a guy who is not supported by Republicans in his own state.
Yeah, that's
what I
another
mean?
thing that's going to come back now. The party here doesn't support him.
And I feel like when he comes home to roost, what's going to happen? Like I think he's going to. I feel like he's someone that does retaliate. We've talked about Rudy Krieg and the stuff with Disney. Like he's someone that he's not going to just sit back.
Yeah, but
with his tail between his legs.
That's
you know
fine.
what I mean?
But there's more and more Republicans who have come out publicly who said they're not going to do this all over again with him.
He's already say that now.
He looks
they
fine.
Say that now.
Well, we'll see what happens. But he looks weak, and they're tired of eating shit for him. They do all these things for him, and then they go back to their districts. And you think people are happy there? You think they're okay with how the party looks and how he looks like a fucking clown with fighting with Disney? They're not going to do it anymore. So I guess we'll find out, because they're already doing shitty things right now in the session, but leading into session. But we'll see if they do it. We'll see. I don't know, because the whole point of like all these bills, we can all look at DeSantis and blame him, but he didn't write them.
No.
He didn't fight for them in committee. He didn't vote for them. He just signed them.
That's true.
So he can't do, none of these things would exist without that Republican legislature. And they have a lot more power than he does.
Yeah.
You know? So
I guess we'll have to wait and see.
Yeah, I'm worried. I was thinking about next year. So the first 3 months we're talking about the Florida legislature. Then we're talking about the March primary.
Yeah.
Then we're going to be talking about the August primary.
Yeah.
And then by then we're going to know who the nominees are. And then we got 3 months to November. And I'm like, please God, let everybody get through this.
Nervous about November. I was nervous in 2016. I was nervous in 2020. But this one feels scary to me. It feels like if Trump wins this presidency, and we've talked about it on this podcast before, he went through a trial run. Now he knows better. And I'm afraid of what he's going to do and how he's going to retaliate. And I don't know.
I think when Trump wins the primary for the Republicans, he's definitely winning. And I know there's a few folks out there that say, "Oh, we should vote for Nikki Haley." I said, they're all monsters. They're not gonna protect your rights. No. It doesn't matter. Once they get in office, all they're gonna do is just, as Hillary was saying, that the Supreme Court, they're gonna put really young Supreme Court justices there, and they're gonna pack the courts again with very conservative judges, and none of them are better than the other. So, but I don't think Trump wins. My concern is that 61% of Democrats vote by mail. And here in Florida, the Republicans changed the rules of the game. So now, because of voter disenfranchising, you have to register to vote every 2 years, every election cycle, which is not registered to vote, registered to vote by mail.
Right.
So if you want to receive a ballot, you have to order it every 2 years. And a lot of folks don't know that.
Right.
Yeah.
And
a lot of folks don't know that. So that's what I'm scared of, is the fact that people are not informing themselves. They're not educating themselves, and they're just going around life like nothing matters. In the meantime, Florida is a mess. The real estate market is a mess. Homeowners insurance is so expensive right now. People can't afford to live here, so
there's record numbers of people leaving Florida. It does have to do with politics, but it is because it's unaffordable now.
It is very unaffordable.
It's more and more unaffordable.
In Broward County, to live a normal, medium, average income family needs to make $121,000 a year.
Yeah.
That's a lot of money for some people.
Of course it is. Yeah.
That's a lot of money.
A lot of money.
And if you're renting or if you have a mortgage and all of a sudden you're paying $300 to $400 more a month, like where's that money supposed to come from? And those are the conversations that should be being had, not whether 16, 17-year-olds should work longer hours. Like these are conversations that are dinner table issues that people are affecting people every single day.
But why do they need the 16 and 17?
Yeah, I was going to ask you, why do you think they need them?
Because of the whole attack on the immigrants, right? Like, it's ridiculous.
Right.
It's ridiculous. And do you think any of those people making the laws, that their kids are going to be working these jobs? No. And then how's that going to impact, grades and school? And
they're not going to school. That's it.
It's a mess.
The family needs them to work to make money, to pay bills.
And if the person's like, you have to do it, and there's no recourse.
It's really fucked up.
It's messed up.
So let's leave this on a positive note.
Okay.
I did want to say a couple of things that I was grateful for with the podcast this year is that we got to go on that trip to New York. All three of us went to New York together.
Oh, that was so much fun.
The New York trip was the best thing.
Yeah.
My best time was just sitting in that little bar in Chelsea or the Village, I don't remember.
Do every single day.
And it was just so much fun. We just catching up and connecting and drinking whatever everybody was drinking. It was so much fun.
And walking around, and it was rainy, and
it's the best.
Like overcast, and I loved it.
Let's
I loved
do it
every
again.
minute.
Yeah.
Oh, we need to do another group trip.
Oh God,
it was
fun.
So fun.
It was the best. It was the best.
Yes. So, thank you for being here with us, Alfredo.
Thank you for having me one more year.
The best executive producer
ever.
The highest paid with the least amount of work.
Oh my God.
We ask you for an hour of work a year.
Get out there, executive producers, and make a life of yourselves. You all need to find yourself a Tina and a Hillary.
Yay! Well, Happy New Year, you guys.
Happy New Year.
I hope you guys get everything you want in 2024.
Yes.
And thank you for your listening and subscribing and all of our Patreons. We are so grateful, thankful for you every day.
Yes.
And Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
We'll
Happy
see
New
you
Year.
in season 5 of the Muck Podcast coming January 2024.
Let's go.
That's just around the corner.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Happy
Bye.
New Year. Bye.